Welcome to Crypto Tutors. We are humanizing cryptocurrency and blockchain and are bringing the best trailblazers and success stories like Isaiah Jackson, Tanya Evans, Ian Balina, Cleve Messidor, and Tinashe Nitaganga on the Crypto Couch. Click subscribe and the bell to be the first to watch the latest interviews every single week.
Other projects I like, Alchemix. This is pretty much a DeFi protocol that lets you borrow without having to ever pay back your loan. Because your collateral is put into a vault, and that vault is put into your own finance where it earns yield. And the yield is then used to pay back your loan. So you can add stablecoins and Ethereum as collateral and never really have to sell, right? So for me, I love Ethereum. I think it's the next Bitcoin, really, and I think it will eventually flip Bitcoin. So I have no plans of selling my Ether. So I also want to cash out. I want to cash out on my Ether, and also not pay any taxes, ideally, legally speaking, right? So by borrowing against my Ethereum through this protocol, I can cash out my Ether, not sell, causing a capital gains expense. And to me, this is where the future of DeFi is going. That's why this protocol has really been it's had some hiccups, but tech-wise, it's big. Big investors are now getting into the space with this project, from Alameda Research to Mark Cuban. So I think this is where the future is going. Then I also like Polygon, right? Polygon is very undervalued. They're building the Internet of Blockchains on the Ethereum protocol layer 2 platform. I also like Helium Network. They're building a decentralized internet. I've been mining them since the beginning. This was also a 100x investment, but pretty much I've been early in it from like 10 cents. It went all the way down, all the way up to like $20. They have now over 50,000 hotspots, and they're building an internet. So in Q3, they'll be launching 5G on their hotspots, right? So these are hotspots, kind of like nodes, plug and play, and you get paid in crypto for sharing your internet connection on the hotspot. I've been making anywhere from 3 to 6 grand a month passively, just with this hotspot, right? That's why now they're pretty much sold out, because they're very tough to get, because people have been printing money with them.
Well, I appreciate you giving us some intel, because that is very powerful information. And I think it's also interesting that when we talk about the fundamental analysis, because the market can be very fickle. Part of the volatility when you have, whether they call themselves that or not, market makers that are manipulating the market, the Elon Musks of the world that are saying, yes, we love Bitcoin. Okay, no, now we don't love it. And just the people who are taking these tweets as gospel, and that being the extent of why they invest in Dogecoin. I think it's so refreshing to hear about Token Metrics and to introduce you to our community, because you are the antithesis of that. There is a variety of extensive analysis that's enabling the predictive analytics that you offer to help people make wise investment decisions that they themselves can wrap their heads around, they themselves can speak to justify the rationale behind it. And so what does the future hold for Token Metrics? What does the future hold for Ian Balina? Like, where are you going to go from here?
To the moon and beyond.
Obviously.
I mean, so we're in the process of getting ready to launch Token Metrics version 2 later this year, probably towards end of Q3, maybe Q4. Much more improved version UI UX. We recently launched Token Metrics TV, which is daily premium content. We want to put out applications out in Fire TV, Roku TV, app stores on Android and Apple, and basically having our content and our research anywhere you go. We also just launched our crowdfund this week. We're basically giving our community a chance to invest through a Reg CF. You can find that by going to wefunder.com/token.metrics. And the plan is really to give our community an opportunity to share in the success we have, right? Because we built this company at the bottom of a bear market, and in a year and a half now, we've gone from zero to almost $100 million valuation. And being able to do that here in the crypto space with the support of our community, we want to make sure that they share in that success.
So, Ian, with respect to your scoring systems, help us understand, is the system configured in a way that is designed to only look at projects that have that 100x potential, or are there some other considerations associated with what you're saying? This is investable.
So our system is designed to help find solid projects we think will have solid fundamentals, good technology, and are likely to do well and outperform the market in the long term, in the next several years, right? And that's typically ends up being products that have the potential to 100x, but it's not necessarily like a guarantee per se. However, by having a system like this, we can find the 100x's on a consistent basis almost every single year and almost every single market cycle, right? Because good teams that are undervalued. So one of the pillars of our investment thesis is value investing in crypto, finding projects that are great, that have great technology, great teams that are undervalued. You can have a crypto asset like Bitcoin, which is great technology, but we think while it being good, you won't really find 100x returns in Bitcoin. That's why we go into altcoins. That's why we believe in the long tail of crypto, because most people in Bitcoin have already made their money, right? If you're brand new to crypto and you're trying to catch up, you have to go to the riskier place. However, you have to be smart about it and have a strategy to go through and manage the risk of investing in altcoins. And that's what we do. We help people manage that risk by having a thorough system that filters out all the noise and finds those hidden gems.
A couple other questions related to, some of the learnings associated with having your account hacked. Like, this is the security aspect of the crypto world is something that doesn't get as much attention as it should. And it would be great to share with our audience, what did you learn from the experience of being hacked, and what can we ourselves do to prevent a hack?
Yeah, I mean, I learned a lot. I learned one, you have to really take ownership in your security, especially as a public figure. So I definitely had to beef up my security, from hardware wallets to having all kinds of high-tech stuff everywhere. But also I learned the legal process. So one thing I haven't really shared too much, but the hackers were actually found. It took about almost 2 years, but they were found, and now they'll face trial. So thanks to the help of the FBI, the DOJ, the hackers were caught, the funds were captured and returned, which is good. But going through the process of working with FBI, the legal system, and just having investigators go through and track down wallets showed me that, hey, blockchain actually helps out a lot. And seeing how officials have to deal with hackers and hacker groups was pretty interesting, because now I realize there's a totally different element to crypto that I hadn't really seen. Because when I lost the money, I thought I'd lost it forever. But I also bounced back, right? Because when I lost 2.5 million, the reason I didn't really sweat it too much, because I had the skill, right? So I was able to, through other means in just business, from consulting and marketing and other things, I was able to make the $2.5 million back in 3 months, right? Because to me, making money is almost like a game, right? And if you have the skill and you haven't lost that skill, and I felt like my back was up against the wall, I felt like people were doubting me to make the money back again. It was a challenge, right? It was a challenge that showed me, hey, when your back's against the wall, you can always bounce back, right? So to me, it was definitely a learning experience all around, from security to the legal system to just my personal confidence in myself. I definitely learned a lot.
And just a follow-up question, in relation to some of the new security, either applications or technologies or products that you've integrated into your process, what are some of those? What are some of those products? What are some of those technologies?
So hardware wallets, encryption everywhere, from USB drives to your computer, to having hardware firewalls at home with deep packet level filtration systems, to just going through and auditing everything you're doing and seeing where there's a weak link. And just kind of just even being more reserved with how much I share about my personal finances in crypto.
Yep. We're gonna have to bring your mother on the show, by the way, because teaching you about monopoly and then encouraging you to start all these businesses, like, I feel like we need to she's the GOAT. We have to give her the GOAT status, greatest of all time status, because to have raised an individual like yourself who has the tenacity, the perseverance, and the understanding that, an L doesn't define you. You might have lost a battle, but you certainly haven't lost the war, especially not given what you've been able to, how you've been able to rebound. So it's been awesome learning about your story. We will continue to follow your journey. Thank you for just sharing, where you are, but ultimately where you want to go on your quest to be a billionaire. And any closing remarks for folks that are, especially people of color, right? Like as a Black female, for instance, and I want to contextualize this. So for folks that are watching this show, Ian, oftentimes, many of our viewers are women and people of color. And the perception in the media is that like we're not in the space, when in fact you have people like yourself that are not just in the space, but are creating $100 million entities with a trajectory of a $1 billion, maybe even $1 trillion market cap. Who knows? We'll put that out there and let the chips fall where they may. But my point is that if you're someone that looks like either you or I, who's considering getting into crypto but doesn't know where to start, what would you tell us?
I would say go all in. I mean, it's kind of, well, it depends where you're trying to go, right? But you can go all in
Because you took
slowly, right?
$100. You took $100 to
Yeah.
get skin in the game.
Yeah. So for
So
me, it was me going all in initially was $100 into Bitcoin and Ethereum because that's how much I was comfortable losing at that time. Then as I educated myself more by just reading books in the space, watching videos, reading articles, I again got more comfortable and slowly scaled in. And then I reached a tipping point where I was like, you know what? Now I'm fully a believer. Now I'm going all in, right? And kind of like that famous Spanish explorer, I think his name was Cortez, when he took his troops and army to South America, and he burned the ships and said, either we conquer or we die. That's the mindset I had back in 2017, and I told myself,
burn
I
the
don't care
boats.
I don't care no matter what. By the end of the year, I'm out of here. I'm going to be self-employed, have my own business. I don't care if I have to move back in with my folks. This is it. Because to me, I realized it wasn't just about the money, right? So I gave up a job at IBM making almost $500,000, and that was in my late 20s. I mean, that was a job people twice my age would kill for, right?
Yep.
But I realized that I was trying to make $1 billion, and unless they made me CEO, it wasn't happening anytime soon, right? So I had to kind of burn the boats and go all in because I saw crypto as that saving grace and that vehicle to my pathway and my goals. So to do that, I just had to go all in. And by September, ended up achieving my goal and quitting IBM and going all in on crypto. Then 3 months later, became a millionaire. And now I'm investing in the space. Now I'm an entrepreneur. And now I'm trying to take our entire audience and community with us.
I just want to acknowledge you for what you've been able to build, but also the mental hurdles that you had to jump over to remain in a persevering state of mind, in an entrepreneurial state of mind, to have the vision to say, yeah, this $500,000 is cool, but it's a drop in the bucket when you think about the billion that I'm after. And so I think that is a great way to wrap up today's show. As I mentioned at the beginning, part of the reason why we're bringing folks like Ian to this conversation is because we're showing you what the future holds if you're willing to learn, if you're willing to do your due diligence, if you're willing to take wise and intelligent risks, because this is an industry that has a $2 trillion market cap in, a little over 10 years, and it is growing exponentially. Ian, you mentioned that the Token Metrics provides guidance on 100x return. He cited Polygon and as an example in 2018 of a company that they found. They were like that right there when it was MATIC. So I say all of that to say, ladies and gentlemen, and other, that this is the show, the Crypto Couch, where you're going to get the inside scoop. You're going to get the intel that you need as long as you continue to learn in order to earn. And that's a wrap. Thank you, Ian, for joining us here today. We look forward to hosting you back, because I have a feeling that billion is coming very soon. And so when you get to that point, we'll bring you on the Crypto Couch. We'll support your journey. We'll make sure the community continues to follow your journey. And if there's an opportunity for us to invest, by all means, check out what you're doing on the crowdfunding front.
So wefunder.com/token.metrics.
Awesome. We got you. We salute you.
Thank you for
And
having
thank
me.
you
It
for
was a
joining us.
pleasure.
Peace.
Want to learn more? Visit cryptotutors.com.
This episode is sponsored by Cash App.